Welcome to The Explainer. For anyone in medicine who works with kids, nutrition counseling can feel like you're walking into a minefield. You've got picky eating, you've got anxious parents, and just so much conflicting advice out there. So today, we're going to break down a really high-yield framework that will help you counsel families with confidence and really shift the dynamic from food battles to healthy feeding relationships. All right, let's just dive right in with a scenario we've all seen. A parent comes in, they're totally frustrated, and they're convinced their toddler is going to live on crackers and cheese forever. Now, before you start rattling off a list of kid-friendly recipes, there is a core principle you need to teach them first. And honestly, it changes everything. And that principle, the thing that really takes the pressure off everyone, is called the division of responsibility. It's not about specific foods or counting calories, at least not at first. It's a philosophy, really. It's a framework that makes it crystal clear who is responsible for what at the dinner table. This is it. This is the core idea. It completely shifts the dynamic from a power struggle into a relationship that's actually built on trust. The caregiver, the parent, their job is to provide the structure and the options. And the child's job? Well, they get to listen to their own body, which, by the way, they are naturally really good at. It empowers both of them by giving them clear, manageable jobs to do. What's so great about this is just how cleanly it separates the roles. You see it here, right? The caregiver's job literally ends once the food is on the table in a nice, positive environment. They are the provider. That's it. The child's job begins right then. They are the decider. Any pressuring or bribing or, the whole one more bite thing, it just completely undermines this framework and can actually make kids worse at listening to their own hunger cues. Okay, so let's see how this actually plays out during the toddler years. This is a time of just massive developmental change. And a key point for parents is that after that first birthday, their growth rate slows way down, so their appetite can get super unpredictable. This is also when we see a lot of those behaviors that can really frustrate parents. You can see on this timeline just how fast those motor skills are developing. A huge counseling point here is to just reassure parents that the messiness, the spills, using their hands, that's a totally normal and actually a necessary part of learning how to feed themselves. It's also really important to stress that by 2 years old, that transition from the bottle to a cup should be done. It's key for preventing things like dental cavities. So probably the most important thing we can do when we're counseling is to normalize these behaviors. Playing with food isn't bad manners for a toddler, it's them exploring. Food jags, where they only want to eat chicken nuggets for a week, not a sign of a lifelong picky eater, it's just a phase. And this last one, this is a game changer for parents. A kid might need to see a new food 8 to 10 different times before they'll even try it. Letting parents know that can be a huge relief. All right, so as we move into the preschool years, kids become so much more aware of their surroundings. Their world gets bigger than just the plate in front of them, and the environment itself. It becomes this really powerful teacher for shaping their eating habits. And this is where family meals become so valuable. The goal isn't some perfect, hour-long dinner every single night. Not at all. We're talking 15 to 20 minutes of distraction-free time, so no screens, is hugely beneficial. You just encourage the child to sit at the table, even if they don't eat anything, just to be part of that social experience. And this isn't just a nice idea, We've got really strong evidence for this. A big meta-analysis back in 2011 showed that sharing family meals isn't just a sweet tradition, it's actually a protective factor for healthier outcomes way down the line. Now we see another big shift. Once kids hit school age, they're eating more meals away from home. They're getting influenced by their friends, by commercials, and they're also starting to become more aware of things like body image. The caregiver's role, well, it has to evolve again. The goal here is to help parents make that transition from being the provider to being more of a guide. So getting kids involved in meal planning or letting them help at the grocery store, that gives them a sense of ownership. And when you praise their healthy choices instead of criticizing the unhealthy ones, you empower them to use that knowledge even when you're not around. Okay, so we've established the how to eat, that positive environment. Now let's get into the specifics, the high-yield numbers and guidelines that really form the backbone of a healthy diet. This is a great visual for the target macronutrient balance in school-age kids. And notice how wide those ranges are. There's a lot of flexibility. The key thing to remember is that carbs are the main energy source, and fat is absolutely essential. For kids under 2 especially, you should never restrict fat. This right here, this is a fantastic, super simple rule you can give to parents for portion sizes. For kids up to about age 5, a good starting point for a serving is 1 tablespoon per year of their age. It's a simple little guideline that helps prevent that common mistake of giving huge portions, which can totally override a kid's natural fullness cues. Finally, let's just run through some of the most critical, practical tips and safety red flags. These are the things that should be part of pretty much every pediatric nutrition discussion. These are the non-negotiables. Juice. Oh man, this is a huge point of confusion for parents. This visual makes the strict daily limits for 100% fruit juice really, really clear. And it's so important to counsel that whole fruit is always better. Why? Because juice doesn't have the fiber and it offers zero nutritional advantage over just eating the fruit itself. This is an excellent tool for counseling. It's just simple, direct guidance. The best things to drink: water and plain milk. Sugar-sweetened drinks should be avoided. And it's also worth specifically calling out those toddler milks or transition formulas. For a healthy kid, they're generally just unnecessary and expensive. This is a question you will get all the time. And for most healthy kids who are growing well and eating a decent variety of foods, the answer is a pretty clear no. Routine supplements just aren't necessary. However, there are, of course, some really important exceptions. This list basically covers the key situations where you should be thinking about a supplement. This includes kids on, say, a strict vegan diet who are going to need B12, or kids with very little sun exposure who might need some extra vitamin D. Okay, shifting to safety, and this is a big one. Choking is a major but presentable risk. These 3 points are absolutely non-negotiable, and you have to emphasize them with every single caregiver of a young child. Supervise them, make sure they're sitting upright, and cut up those high-risk foods appropriately. And finally, the other critical piece of safety: preventing foodborne illness. It's just vital to remind caregivers that kids are way more vulnerable to pathogens. So things like unpasteurized milk or juice and any undercooked meat or eggs, they should be strictly avoided. So when you boil it all down, what does it all come to? Well, our guidance as health professionals, it goes so far beyond just talking about nutrients and calories. By teaching this idea of a division of responsibility, we're not just trying to fix a toddler's food jag. We are helping to create a competent, confident eater who has a healthy, lifelong relationship with food. We're setting a foundation for both their physical and mental well-being for years and years to come.